Okay, guys, this is for Acedo ERWC II. I have 5th period, her Google Classroom code, 6th period, Google Classroom code, or you can do the paper packet. So for activity 1, if you haven't done it, if you're doing the Google Classroom, you want to scroll down and open the activity 1 and open the document that says your work and fill in and turn in again or complete the paper packet. So when you open it up, your worksheet is going to look like this. Okay, so activity 1 is not that difficult. Okay, it's saying which you have module learning goals. Okay, and then it's saying which of these goals most interest you. Okay, so read a collection of war stories from both a literary and rhetorical perspective. Analyze how an author's narrative strategies and techniques make stories more powerful and effective. Understand how memory and emotions affect the telling of past events. Write a short narrative that practice blah, blah, blah. Okay? So basically, pick one of these and write it in this blank here, okay, for number 1. 2, and also make sure you answer the questions in complete sentences. So that would be what interests you most. So you would say, what interests me most is reading a collection, or so you're just rewording it and putting it in there. Okay, so if you're using Google Classroom, it's pretty easy because you're copying and pasting. If you're doing the paper packet, then you're going to have to write it. Okay, so if it was me, I would use Google Classroom. Your work would go a lot faster. Okay, number 2, which goals seem new or challenging for you? Okay, so again, you're picking a goal from the blue. What makes a story powerful or effective? Now this one you have to think, okay? So what kind of movies or books have you read that you thought they were really good? What made them powerful or effective? Okay, was it the plot? Plot is the storyline. Was it interesting characters? Action? So you choose, okay? Do you enjoy telling stories? Okay, so you could be, do you enjoy telling your friends about what happened? Something exciting? Do you enjoy telling them about a football game? Those kind of things. Or do you know someone who enjoys and is a good storyteller? So again, complete sentences. So don't just put yes or no. It doesn't say you have to explain, but you still have to say, yes, I enjoy telling stories. Or, yes, I do know someone who enjoys telling good stories. Okay? Where do stories come from? Okay, so stories come from, sometimes they come from real events, okay, stuff that really happened. And sometimes stories come from our imagination, okay? What is the best way to make a point while telling the story? Okay, so if I want to make a point, there's a lot of answers for this, okay? So the best way to make a point while telling a story is to, and then you put your answer, okay? It could be by providing evidence that supports your point. You could put something like that, depending on what kind of story. Okay, my personal goals for this module. So you have, this is cut off here, but you have to write 2 goals for each. Okay, and she gives you examples. Okay, so you can look at those examples. Okay, my personal goal for reading is to read every day. My personal goal for writing is to write every day. So those will be examples. They don't have to be difficult. Okay, so that's activity 1. So activity 2 says exploring key concepts. Open, again, fill in and turn in or do your paper packet. Okay, so here is activity 2. It says, and this is an opinionaire, which means it's just your opinion. You don't need to read anything or do anything. You just agree, disagree, or not sure. Okay? So, the only heroes in war are the dead ones. Do you agree, disagree, not sure? Okay? Is it sweet and fitting to die for one's country? So, do you think it's good? Do you agree that it is a good thing? Okay? A noble thing to die for your country? Yes, no, not sure. Is it always wrong to kill another person? Okay. Men and women react differently to situations of extreme stress. Okay. You can either be brave about something or be a coward about it, but you can't really be both. Okay. Is it not possible to understand war without having experienced it? So, can I understand war without being in a war? There are places you can leave that will never truly leave you. Okay, so that means they will always be stuck in your memory. So some places, good or bad, are so memorable that you will never forget them. Okay? Adolescent experience love differently than adults do. Okay, so when you're a teenager, is love different than grown-ups? Number 9, a fictional story conveys more truth than a nonfiction story. So fiction is a made-up story. So does a made-up story have more truth than a true story? Again, there are no wrong answers as long as you fill this out, okay? It's an opinion. It's just your opinion. Vietnam, okay, the war still matters. Does Vietnam still matter? Okay. It says, rewrite each statement as an opinion and add a because statement to explain why you think this. So, example for number 10. I think the Vietnam War still matters because we must learn from the past. So you're going to do this for 1 through 10. So let's do number 1. I think the only heroes in war are the dead ones because, or I do not think the only heroes in war are the dead ones because many people in war do heroic things, save lives, okay, doctors, other soldiers who saved their friends in the war. So that would be an example. So you're saying I think on each one of these, and then you're saying why you think that, okay? Activity 3, same thing, paper packet or go in her Google Classroom. Again, if you're good at copy and pasting, then you're going to save yourself a lot of writing, okay? So let's look at this. So it says, surveying the text. To survey means to look. Look at your book and answer the following questions in complete sentence in the space provided. So what is on the cover and what does the cover art mean? Okay, so let's skip activity 3 because I don't know what book she is referring to. Okay, so we'll come back to activity 3. Building background. Okay, so this one is the article. Read the article, Vietnam War, and answer the following questions. Use facts and details from the article to support each answer. How many casualties estimated in the Vietnam War? So I went through and I read the article, and that's what you're going to do. You're going to read the article and look for facts. So this activity kind of reminded me of like a history activity, okay? So if you look at this slide here, I've highlighted where I found the answers, okay? So it says Vietnam War, more than 58,000 American soldiers and an estimated 2 million Vietnamese soldiers and civilians were killed in Vietnam. So that's number 1. Let's look back at 2. What happened in Vietnam in World War II? Okay, so in the 1800s, the French took control of an area in Asia that included Vietnam. So this is not what we're looking for right now. Okay. Okay, so somewhere in here, we have that Vietnam was split into two, right? And the South Vietnamese supported the North Vietnamese and wanted the two countries to unite under communist rule. So a lot of things happened in Vietnam. I'm not sure if she wants a specific question or you could write one of these facts, okay? So you can look through this, and there's quite a few things that happened. So let's go back to 3. Who was Ho Chi Minh? So this is more of a specific question. Okay, so Ho Chi Minh came to power and claimed Vietnam's right to self-rule. Okay, and they talk a little bit more about him. And you could see that that's in the pink in the 3rd paragraph. Okay. Why did the U.S. support French rule in Vietnam? Okay, so let's see if I could find that. So North Vietnam was controlled by communist leader Ho Chi Minh. So that could go on 3 too, okay? And was supported by the United States at some point. But Diem turned out to be a brutal dictator who ran his country in a manner that violated American values. Okay, so because he was an oppressive leader who tortured and killed his own people, he had little support even with his own country. So basically with Americans, we go against communists, okay? So we did not want to support a communist leader, okay? So so why did the U.S. support French rule in Vietnam? Okay. What happened to Vietnam in 1954? By 1954, the conflict had killed hundreds of thousands of soldiers on both sides, as well as countless Vietnamese civilians, and that's in red there. Was Diem a good leader? Explain why or why not, and describe what happened as a result. Okay, so I just read that. It said that he was a brutal dictator in blue on the bottom who ran his country in a manner that violated American values. He was an oppressive leader. Okay. Let's see. Who were the Viet Cong? Okay. Okay, so we're right at the bottom, kind of in that peachy color below the blue there. South Vietnamese supported the North Vietnamese and wanted the two countries to unite under communist rule. These people were called the Viet Cong. What was JFK's reaction to the situation in Vietnam upon taking office in 1961? So he was opposed to them because they were communists. Okay, so let's see the whole question. And what was his reaction? So the last part, he slowly increased American monetary aid, which reached $500 million by 1962. He had stationed more than 11,000 military advisors to South Vietnam by 1962. These advisors were actually soldiers, but because federal law prohibits a president from sending soldiers, okay, so you don't need all that. But basically, it's part of the bottom blue there. Okay, so go ahead and read through that section. Okay, I just copy and pasted certain things from the article where I was able to find what the teacher's looking for, what Mrs. Cito's looking for. Okay, so complete that. Activity 5. Okay, see what that is. Okay, so this one is a little bit longer. Okay, so you have to listen or read, okay, the things they carried. Okay, I'm going to open this and then I'm going to close it. Okay, so let's see.
This is Audible.
So you can, whoops, I don't know what happened there. Okay, let me go back. So anyway, you can see that that's an audiobook that you have to listen to, okay? So after you listen to it, you need to answer these questions. So it says read or listen to the things they carried, pages 1 through 25, and answer the following questions in complete sentences on a piece of lined paper. Okay, so I think you could also, again, this is on Google Classroom, so you could also type it in, okay? So what questions do you still have about the story after reading it? 2, in the list of all the things the soldiers carried, what items is most surprising? Which items do you find most evocative of war? Okay, so evocative, what does that word mean? Okay, so that'll be something you need to Google and look up. 3, make list of several tangibles. Okay, tangible means things you can touch. Okay, they're actual things. An intangible is more like your feelings, your ideas, how you think about the world, your values, your morals, and these things carried by the soldiers. Then respond to the following: which is a heavier burden, the tangible or intangible? Why? So, is it, let's say an example, a soldier has a tangible, which is he lost his legs, okay? Is that more of a problem or more troublesome? Or the soldier has like PTSD, which is like he's so stressed out, he's having flashbacks, he has emotional problems. So that's an opinion, okay? So so I think what I need to do is I need to read or listen to that audio so I can help you more with this activity, okay? Because I haven't had a chance to do that yet. And let's look at activity 7, which I believe at this point you guys this is even due. So if you haven't started on these activities, it's time to do that, okay? So activity 7 asks you to think about the things you carry with you each day, both physical and emotional. Here's an example, okay? So here's Mrs. Aceto's example. Okay, the things I carry, tangible. So she carries money, hand sanitizer, keys, her ID, her phone, her glasses. Intangible are love, stress, memories, pride, regrets, secrets, sadness, right? And then here's her backpack, okay? And so she drew this picture, and then she's drawing arrows to say what each one represents, okay? And then activity 8, the letter. Okay, so let's stop there, because at this point you have to, you're going to be writing a letter, okay? But you also have to use O'Brien's creative writing techniques, repetition and imagery. So she does have an example. Okay, so let me see if I can open that. Okay, and this is on her Google Classroom. All right, so this is kind of what she wants. Okay, so again, we can look at that in more detail, and I can give you more help with that. That's a bigger assignment, okay? So, and these are directions, okay? So I'm not going to go over all of this. I haven't read O'Brien's techniques, so I'm not prepared to help you with that. But I would recommend, if you haven't done so, get these first couple or a few activities done, because they don't require any really reading on your part. So get those turned in, 1, 2, and 3. Let's see, 4 again. Yeah, and even 4 you should be able to do, because I've summarized it for you here. 5 is going to require more time because you have to listen to the audiobook. So work on 1 through 4, get those done. If you're doing the paper packet, don't worry about it. I believe you can just turn that in when we go back to school or the end of the 3 weeks. But again, I recommend you do Google Classroom. It's just easier. Okay, so if you haven't joined, if you have 5th period, there's your code. 6th period, there's your code. So join because, again, you can use copy and paste for restating a lot of this, okay? So I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.